Jai Hind to all. We are on the next topic of digital and social media marketing, KOE 094, fourth year subject, an open elective. We have been talking about digital and social media and its rise because of social media and internet. But there are two topics that needs to be discussed today, and these are digital leadership principles and online communities and co-creation principles. These are two topics that I would like to cover. Digital leadership principles talks about, it's a part of unit 4, which talks about how the leadership should be open and comfortable enough in adopting this new digital marketing techniques, new digitization, how this transformation has to be accepted and precluded within the organization, so that smoothly it is this switch over from non-digital to digital era takes place. For that, what are the principles expected from a leadership? So, how the leadership should go think about it and go about it. That is the first topic. And the second topic, if we get time enough, then we will go for online communities and co-creation principles belonging to unit 5. So, what is digital leadership is basically talking about value driven leadership. We will discuss each of these points in detail in further slides, but let me just first highlight what are these. Value driven leadership, coaching of both human and bot. Value driven leadership wants to talk about that the leadership in itself has to be he or she or whole management or the leadership in itself has to be value driven. His own ethical, personal values and social values plays a major role in his acceptance as a leader and then finally as a transformer. Then coaching of both humans and bots to accept that there is a transformation from non-digital to digital, so both have to be trained. Then focus on innovation. Obviously, if there is an innovation, then we have new techniques and new ways to adapt. And then with every new innovation, we have new advantages and disadvantages coming up, and then again whole cycle of teaching learning starts. Then knowledge about security and integrity. The moment we are going to be digitized, there is a major concern that we always talk about is security and integrity. We will be discussing this, and there should be proper understanding with the leadership that what are the issues that can arise as a security and integrity threat. Understanding the power of diversity and inclusion. It is a leadership which has to think of accepting these two extremes of maintaining the diversity and making it inclusive as well, because generally diversity goes with exclusiveness, but again we have to basically balance between exclusiveness and inclusiveness. Exclusiveness can be the diversity and the inclusion of those diversity has to be inculcated. Then learnability, how the whole system is adapting, learning, whether there is acceptance to change or not. All these are the part of learnability from digital leadership principle point of view. Then how to be sustainable as human and as a leader. First of all, we will have to be a good human and then a good leader to make this transformation happen. So, let us get into all these topics one by one. Value driven people want to work at value driven companies, but the leaders' personal values are also of great importance. People follow other people and not strategies. To be the kind of person people want to follow, you have to know yourself and your personal values first, not to be afraid to communicate them and be authentic. So, the leader in itself should be value driven. You should believe in personal and professional ethics and values that has to be maintained. Then coaching of both human and bot to accept this change of ecosystem altogether. Leader in digital transformation has to find new techniques for coaching in a new Coaching in a new ecosystem consisting of both humans and robots. The workforce consists of mix of human and AI and human and robots, employees, some contractors and gig workers working remote and as a leader, and you have to find new ways to reach everyone. So, there has to be a proper blend of this part and this part within a system to make it basically an digitized system. Then focus on innovation. In these new teams of people working together, there can be a lot of confusion on just how to work together. In order to innovate, we have to work with agile methods. Agile method is wherein you take fast decisions, short product cycle is there, fast decisions are made, and whole product cycle is very fast. So, agile methods, but everyone, that is one of the method of software engineering, we do not want to get into that. But over here agile method wants to talk about the quick production time, decision making time from conceptualization of idea to the product formation. Quick agile methods, but everyone has a different perspective of what agile is. A leader has to simplify and be clear about how to do things. The more the clear the idea is, what the main objective is, the main objective is, accordingly the leader has to take fast decisions. So, leader has to simplify and be clear about how to do things and who does what in order for teams to move in the right direction together. So, these are all decision making at the level of leaders. Then, and that depends on how focused and how clear the idea is, that has to be implemented. Knowledge about security and integrity. As we move into more into digital world, obviously, if we are looking for digitization at everywhere, questions about security and integrity needs to be higher on the agenda, and as leaders, we have to be on top of it, have knowledge and be able to assess the risk and ask the right question. We cannot remove altogether the whole of the risk, but we can mitigate that risk, and we should know what is the pros and cons of certain decision that you are going to take. So, assessing the risk, and for that you have to know how much is the cost benefit analysis can be done, what is the benefit in terms of monetary or even non-monetary terms. So, all this risk evaluation has to be known by the leader. Then, understanding the power of diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion, as I was talking about, that we have to be inclusive as well as exclusive. Diversity and inclusion is just not a number game. In order to succeed in real world, work with the diversity and inclusion as a means of innovation. It is the diversity and inclusion that brings you towards innovation. Leaders need to tap into every individual's potential and give them the tool to grow. Who will identify what your strengths are? Maybe the leader, and then he is giving you the right tool and environment and ecosystem to exploit that strength, to use that strength. So, that is the power that is required. Then, learnability. Obviously, everyone needs to keep learning and developing, not least the leaders. The ability to learn fast is a key skill. Obviously, learnability should be there at each and every level. It is not about learnability at the management level and only at the grassroots level. It has to be throughout. How to be sustainable as human and as a leader? Work-life balance is the key. Work-life balance is an obsolete concept, but we need to find strategies for both work performance and relaxation. Reflect on what your relaxation strategy is and focus on what brings value to your life. Be a role model for your colleagues and team to be able to, one who is able to manage both work and life, then he is a successful and sustainable as a human as well as a leader. So, work-life balance is the key. Overall, altogether, the core digital principles that we have talked about has been summarized in this slide, wherein we are talking about authenticity, influence, empathy. So, as we have talked about authenticity, you will not believe a person who is unethical in his own personal or professional life. So, it is the Being who really are a leader is more critical than ever as your digital footprints are omnipresent. Why it is more important now? Because of digital footprints which are present everywhere. The moment you are in this world, you are on internet. The moment you are on internet, you are on social media. The moment there is a digital communication, your all footprints are there and you are present everywhere almost. So you are traceable everywhere. So you cannot be very good at professional level and and bad at personal level, or good at personal level and bad at professional level. That because of your overexposure, because of digital footprints availability everywhere, you have to take care of your activities everywhere. The working life is converging with personal life. You have to be real and truth to yourself. Here is the key point: converging with personal life. What? Your working life. You have to be real and truth to yourself and others. This will translate and distill into believability throughout your entire organization. You will be seen as a person, leader who can be trusted, and not just by your employees but by your customers and clients as well. Because of your omnipresence, your authenticity, your thought process, your behavior is being observed more transparently than previously. Second point is influence. Leadership is influence. At digital age, leaders can make and amplify influence through multiple digital channels. Since because of digitization, there's an overexposure of your activities. So those activities can be multiplied much faster on digital channel. So you not only consume the content as a leader, you also create content to convey the vision and leadership. To influence means to be able to help. Influence means to be able to help shape others' people view and opinion towards own views or perspective. So you are able to convince, you are able to convince or explain and exploit the positive points of your employees, or maybe the other person whom you are in contact with as an organization head. The leader's influence is based on courage to inspire, confidence to assert, and wisdom to negotiate, and uniqueness to bridge via taking advantage of expanded digital platforms. So digital platform can be a bridge between what you think and how you communicate. Then third is empathy. Empathy is the power of understanding, getting into the shoes of others and understanding the situation. That is expected out of a leadership. So 7 core principles that we are talking about in leadership is concluding in these ways. So empathy is the power of understanding and imaginatively entering into another person's feelings or intellectual identification with or vicarious experiencing of the feelings through a attitude of others. Technology makes the world much smaller than ever. We all are net citizens, and connection is generating now. It's a leadership trait in developing the true understanding based upon related interaction with others. It is the leadership capacity to be non-judgmental, the capacity to appreciate and communicate enough with respect to the people's way, the capacity to flexible with the tolerance for ambiguity. So these are the expected characteristic of a good leadership that is going to adopt the transformation. Fourth is agility. We have talked about this. The most critical characteristic of digital age is the speed of change. How fast decision making is done, how fast the whole product cycle is there. So effective leadership should have the ability to adapt to changes. Adaptive leaders will inspire crowd sourcing and crowdstorming. An adaptive leaders team comprising a diverse range of individuals with a cognitive difference will be able to draw on a wider set of experience in order to inform the decision making. It's the meritocracy as its best. A highly diverse set of people collaborate seamlessly to represent nature or to successful organization work together. So there should be agility good enough, and there should be acceptance to others' ideas as well. So you have to accept those diversities as well. Next is insight. Due to the complexity and ambiguity of digital Normal insight is not nice to have, but must have leadership trait. These are the must have leadership traits. As insight is based on information, knowledge, and multi-dimensional intelligence, thus an insightful leaders have better perception to be a good communicator upon thinking deeper rather than just keeping louder. You have to be more assertive than being just louder. Upon knowing when to voice out, when to keep silence, when to voice out, when to keep silence, think deeper before speak louder, use fewer words to express more, and master of crowdsourcing and enjoying collective wisdom with practice ability to convince the value and the gain support. So, these are all traits of a good leadership. Then is balance. We have talked about this, balancing your work life and personal life. Both mankind worlds and nature world are so dynamic that with a balance of energy, balance is more crucial at a digital era due to independence and hyperconnectivity of the business value chain and ecosystem. Then balance is the best strategy to engage, yield and redirect the embrace the interaction of two complementary and opposing forces. Leaders need to cultivate the culture of balance, collective mindset about how to do things here, balance the diversified viewpoints, creativity, discipline, and the team collective capabilities upon which strength and skills are available. Balance of long-term strategies goal with short-term tactics. These are all expected attribute of a good leader. And then of course maturity. Maturity is one of the essential ingredients of leadership. By using this word, it often means to be open-minded, taking personal responsibility and not blaming others, right? This maturity should be there. Having the ability to remove emotions from your decision making so that you can see things from an alternative perspective. Maturity is one part of a higher emotional intelligence for an effective leader, but is not necessarily equal to emotional intelligence, right? High mature leadership takes discipline, determination and perseverance. So, digitization and the latest technology tends to promote self-organizing team. There should be self-organizing team, creative working environment, ecosystem has to be so that there is an adaptability, there is learnability, there is a diversity and inclusion. And it does not mean leadership is out of fashion, on the opposite, it takes better leadership vision and stronger management discipline to thrive today's business dynamics. So, these are all expected characteristic of a good leadership to adapt this transformation. And now we are moving towards the next topic of today, and that is online communication and online communities and co-creation principles. So, how and what are the online communities that are forming, and what is the co-creation principles behind formation of these online communities, that we will be talking about, and it has been usually part of unit 5. So, what is online community? We talk about community culture in digitization world more often than earlier. Earlier it was physical community that we were talking about. Here we talk about community culture in terms of people having same idea, they belong to same set of, maybe professionally they are of the same category, or because of the choice they are same category. So, this online community creation system is very popular in digital world. So, an online community is also called internet community. It is more like a family, virtual family. It is a virtual community whose members interact with each other primarily via the internet. So, we all know that there is internet so much involved in everybody's family, that even being in the same home, in the same room, they may be chatting via maybe social media only, maybe because of the convenience, or maybe because of unavailability of each other. So, for many, online communities may feel like home, consisting of families of invisible friends. So, those who wish to be a part of online community usually have to become a member via a specific site and necessarily and need an internet connection. Obviously, if you want to belong to a traveling community, or maybe you belong to bloggers of certain interest, maybe travelers, they form one communities, maybe educationalist, and especially if we talk about any specific topic, maybe people of Python community. That is one language that we have. Then the people who are all working in Python forms a Python community. Maybe machine learning community is one community you can talk about. So these are virtual people. These are people. They may not have met physically ever, but they are all connected on internet. So that is community culture that we talk about. An online community can act as an information system where members can post, comment on discussion and give advices to collaborate. And commonly people communicate through social networking sites, chat rooms, forums, emails, lists, discussion boards. People may also join online communities through video games, blogs and virtual worlds. So these are online community culture that we often talk about. The 4 types of online communities has been identified, and the top benefits of each of is in the this has concept of online communities has been given by Taylor Douglas, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer at Atuation Critical, identifies 4 different types of community. So these 4 different types of community has been identified by Tyler, but we can do research and find more type of communities. But the one that has been identified by him are social communities, support communities, advocate communities and insight communities. So let's get into all these 4 types. So we have social community, then we have support, then the one which are going to advocate about the community, advocate who can explain you about the product and all, and insight community who can give a better detail of those product if you are researching. So we will see what are these 4 communities. Social communities include public social network like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Brands use social communities mostly for marketing purpose, broadcasting information and building brand awareness. These are the most basic communities that we talk about, social community, and reaching greater audience for campaigning and messaging. Social communities is useful for tracking that your competitors, what your competitors are up to, and identify broad consumers trend. 93% of the large companies use Facebook according to 2015 Social Media Examiner report. So just think about it that 7 to 8 years back also people were more dependent on social communities for their market research, for their product research. So that was social community helping out in marketing awareness of the product. Then is a support community. It enables members to offer product tips to other customers, helping companies reduce customer support cost. So they are basically giving a support, like support companies may not maintain a altogether manpower for that. They can be done through these online support communities. Offer product tips to other customers, helping companies reduce customer support costs. Compared to social communities, this category provides a more structured way of gathering innovative ideas because support communities allow brand to track product and services related conversations. According to 2015 Foster research report, 81% of companies have support communities of some kind. So these are generic communities, they are just giving you an awareness. Then support community would be there to support you with certain technologies, maybe with certain concept, with the usage of the product, maybe these are all support communities. Then we have advocate communities. Advocate communities allow brands to mobilize their most passionate, loyal customers. These are the one who are going to talk good about your product, who are going to talk positive about your product. They have used it and they are talking about it. So this allow brand to mobilize their most passionate, loyal customers, also known as advocate market software. This community type often rewards members for writing a testimonial, posting about the company on a social media, and they are being rewarded. They are being maybe paid or maybe rewarded in some form or the other posting about company on social media, doing other similar activities. According to Laura Ramos, principal analyst at Forrester Research, branded customers communities of this type can help boost positive word of mouth, because they are advocating about your product as a outsider, as a customer. So, you may not have hired them, but they may be rewarded on giving a good review on your product. So, that is your advocate communities. And the fourth one is insight communities. They are giving detailed information of your product. Are made up of carefully selected group of customers who maintain a long-term relationship with brands. So, if you are a loyal customer, long-term relationship you have with the brand, then you can form a part of insight communities. So, these communities allow companies to gather continuous high quality feedback from engaged customers like stakeholders like customers, partners or employees, and already a mainstream market research tool. This category is quickly finding its way in marketing, customer experience and innovation. So, insight community is the one who is most loyal, who has been using your product since years, and now they are in position to explain you each and everything and discuss the positive things about your product. So, that is the insight community that we have talked about. This was the online community. Then co-creation. So, co-creation, how do we form this? Co-creation is management initiative or form of economic strategy that brings different parties together. So, what are these different parties coming together? For instance, a company, a group of customers, all stakeholders coming together forms a co-creation in order to jointly produce a mutually valued outcome. And what is the outcome? Obviously, we are expecting the profit, the good word of mouth. All these are the outcomes that is expected. So, co-creation brings a blend of ideas from direct customers or viewers who are not the direct users of the product, which in turn creates new ideas to the organization. Co-created value arises in the form of personalized, unique experience for the customers, value in use, and ongoing revenue, learning and enhanced market performance drivers for the firm, loyalty relationships, customers, word of mouth is required. Value is co-created with customers if when a customer is able to personalize his or her experience using firm's product. He is able to explain through and through the personal experience of his product usage. Her experience using firm's product service propositions in the lifetime of its use to a level that is best suited to get his or her jobs or tasks done, in which allows the firm to deliver greater value from its product and service investment in the form of new knowledge, higher revenue, profitability and superior brand value loyalty. So, this co-creation has to be done, is done basically among the various stakeholders, various parties that are going to talk about your product. So, the process of co-creation takes place in two steps. The process of co-creation takes, what are the two steps? Contribution and selection. So, co-creation is formation or coming together of various stakeholders for certain purpose, and the two essential steps are contribution and selection. Contribution is summation of contributions by the public to the firm, and selection is selection of the most promising, appealing contributions or submissions. So, these are steps, two steps for co-creation, that is who is contributing, who is contributing to whom, and then final selection of the ideas or which is the most promising ideas that has to be selected. So, types of co-creation can be in terms of 4 ways, depending on the degree of control exercised by the firm public over the contribution and selection activities. Co-creation may broadly be classified into 4 categories: tinkering, submitting, co-designing and collaborating. So, what is tinkering? When public exercises control over the contribution activity while the firm exercises the control over the selection activity. So, what are the two phases? These are only these are the topics I was talking about. So, type of co-creation can be tinkering, submitting, co-designing and collaborating. So, the two steps that has to be done is contribution and selection, and finally these this has to take place in 4 ways: tinkering, submitting, co-designing and collaborating. Tinkering is public exercise control over the contribution activity, while the firm exercises control over the selection activity. Then in submitting, firm exercises complete control over both the activities, that is selection and contribution. Co-designing is firm exercises control over contribution, and while public exercises control over selection. And collaborating is when public exercises complete control over both the activities. So, these are all co-creation activities that we have talked about, and that is all for today. We will continue with the third topic, insecurity issues in digital marketing, in our next session. Thank you. Jai.